Annalise, yesterday's chaos has prompted a string of resignations.
That's the charge coming at Donald Trump, not just from Democrats, but also some former Republican allies who were horrified by the scenes that played out here in Washington, D.C. yesterday. His involvement in that protest that turned into the violent mob that stormed the Capitol is the key issue here. There have been a number of protests in D.C. since the election where Donald Trump has even addressed the crowds and waved at one protest we attended as well. But this was the first time he made that charge that they should march up to the Capitol while that certification process was underway. What we've heard Joe Biden, President-elect, say at the time and also reiterating again today was that Donald Trump needs to take responsibility for it, and the rhetoric he's used has helped flame the issues.
They weren't protesters. Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists. It's that basic, it's that simple. And I wish we could say we couldn't see it coming. He unleashed an all-out assault on our institutions of our democracy from the outset. And yesterday was but the culmination of that unrelenting attack.
Now, we know until this point Donald Trump's resisted engaging in any of the normal transition processes, saying that the election was stolen from him and that there were fraudulent votes. Of course, none of that evidence managed to stack up in any of the multiple legal cases his campaign brought in key swing states. And so the transition process has largely moved on without him. But it was yesterday really trying to derail this certification process that was unprecedented in his personal involvement. And it seems that the message, even though the reporting is that he was really quite taken with the events happening in the Capitol and the support he was seeing from his followers, has now prompted him to at least say he is going to participate in that transition of power, putting into a statement, even though I totally disagree with the outcome of the election and the facts bear me out, nevertheless, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. Now, he's also coming under fire for the 1-minute video he posted to Twitter with his message to the protesters to go home. He's really faced criticism about some of the commentary he had around how he described his supporters, saying that he felt the love and things like that while they were still roaming around the Capitol building, which had been sent into lockdown. He also is under fire for the original comments at the rally that seemed to spur them on.
We're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
This has also prompted calls from a number of lawmakers to be saying that Donald Trump should be removed from office, even though inauguration is only just 2 weeks away, January 20th, when that transition of power will happen to Joe Biden. Nancy Pelosi is now leading the calls for the 25th Amendment to be enacted. Now, that's an amendment that allows for a president to be replaced by the vice president, normally in the instance of an incapacity. But if in this instance he isn't adhering to his constitutional duties, it also gives rise, if a majority of the cabinet members vote for that as well. It would be extremely unprecedented instance if it were enacted in this case. The discussion actually came up already when Donald Trump was being treated for COVID, if he found himself incapacitated in that instance. But Nancy Pelosi is leading the charge, saying that something needs to be done to remove Donald Trump from office, to stop any more insurrections before Inauguration Day.
I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment. That is the overwhelming sentiment of my caucus.
Since the rioting and looting in the Capitol building yesterday, we have also seen a number of high-profile resignations within the Republican Party and their administration. The press secretary for First Lady Melania Trump has resigned, but the breaking news this morning, Australia time, is that Elaine Chao, the wife of Senator Mitch McConnell, but also Transport Secretary and very senior in her own right, has chosen to resign in wake of what's happened yesterday, and we can expect to see a few more resignations in this very chaotic few weeks leading up to the transfer of power.